Hi everyone and greetings to you all. This is the third video of my video blog being sensitive and having chronic pain and using your challenge to become your greatest self. Perhaps you've seen my previous two videos, and you can also find me at www.sylviamikiza.com. And before I start today's topic, I just want to say something about the previous week. I had an ear infection and I had a high fever and dizziness, and like this I've not had it for about 6 years. That's how bad the earache was, and the fever as well. So I was practically bedridden. And normally when living with chronic pain, you get a virus or an infection, and then when you recover from it, normally I don't feel any relief really, because one pain is gone and you still have your other problems. So there's no real time to, what you would say, celebrate, if there is such a thing. But this somehow felt like recovering from a flu, and I think recovering from a flu when you're not a chronic pain patient, this was a recovery that is still going on. So I'm still recovering from it, and I felt relief in a form of being detoxed and having some clarity I've not had before. And I think it was because of the fever, because it does something to your body, not just on a physical level but on a mental level as well. So I just wanted to share that with you, that this is my current perspective right now. So I feel that this has done something to me, and it feels good that that at least something is gone. So today's topic is something very close to my heart, and I think to many who deal with chronic pain 24/7 in their lives, and that is dealing with others, dealing with those who don't understand you, and dealing with those who perhaps don't want to understand you, and even dealing with those who are determined to misunderstand. And I think I've had my fair share of these in the past 7 years. And so there's a few things I want to say about this today. And to start off with is the negative comments that you often get when you try to explain what is happening to you to others. And some of the things I've heard is, and there's the famous one, you don't look sick. And right now I'm at the point that doesn't hurt me at all. It doesn't mean anything, frankly. But I think it's just something that is important for me to mention today. You don't look sick, because just as much as that when you have chronic pain, and that in a lot of people it is invisible. So if you have chronic pain and you can walk, you can use your hands, it's an invisible disease, really. You live with it every day, and others can't see it. So others might think that nothing's wrong with you. And some might say you don't look sick. But just as much as you can't see the chronic pain, you can't see the issues of other people. I can't see the pain of other people, nor can I see the issues of other people. Someone who might make this negative comment towards me has a lot of issues, and they are invisible. I can't see them. So the point is why do you take it so seriously, what others are saying? So this is what I said to myself. Why am I taking this so seriously? Is this even important? Then another comment I've heard in these 7 years, and in the beginning I felt really guilty about this one, and this really touched me in a negative way. I was upset by it. I've heard it a few times in these 7 years, and I will say it now, and I will return to it at the end of the video, because for me it connects to something else. And this comment is that they say But there are those who have it much, much worse than you. Yes, there are those who have it much worse than you. And somehow what this did to me was that I felt guilty. I felt bad about this. This was said to me, and this is an example now how this happened. It was said to me by someone who didn't even know a 1/10 of what I'm going through. So this person didn't even know 1/10 that I'm going through day from day to day. And this person says to me, but some have it much worse than you. What are you really saying to me then? How I translated it for myself before I was ready to face things like that was that I felt guilty. I felt, so yes, it's that thing of, listen, I am complaining that I have no shoes, but there are those who have no feet, who have no legs. So what am I? Am I someone who complains all the time for no reason? It made me feel guilty. But that was then, and I see it differently right now. Because for me now, if someone would say that again, and I don't think that will happen, but if someone would say that again, it's possible, you don't know, then for me it's going to be a trigger to feel a gratefulness, which I will end this video with, by the way, a message of gratefulness, and another thing is a message of humbleness, also mirrored to the person who says it to you. Because where does it come from? You don't know nothing about me, really? Because this was my experience with this person. This person knew nothing about me, just that I had chronic pain, not how I dealt with it from day to day. And then such a comment. So, like, shut up about your problem. There are those who have it worse. So in the first, I want to say, if that would happen again to me, it would trigger me to feel gratefulness about my situation. And it would trigger me to know there is something like humbleness in life. My experience has been that those who were the most negative towards me were the ones who couldn't cope with things themselves. Not always, I think, but these few experiences I've had were that the people who were most negative towards me regarding my chronic pain were those that when they had the flu or just a simple cold, they couldn't handle it in a way that they were acting like they were dying. Yes, it makes me laugh now, but really, it is very interesting to see that people who are, and not always, but in my experience, that those who were the most negative were the ones who could not deal with it. Because it is not easy to deal with. If someone is willing to understand, on the other hand, it takes work, and work takes responsibility. And it also takes that you do not see it as a taboo subject. Because in a way, what I've encountered in 7 years is that chronic pain, or any illness, it's seen as a negative subject. And people want to push it away. In a way, it's like death. In a way, it makes people childish. It makes them like a child. You say something to a child that the child does not want to hear because it's not ready to hear it, because it's afraid, and it will just put their fingers, the fingers in the ears. Well, I don't want to hear this. I've not heard this. This is go away. Something like that. So dealing with people like that for me was, and that took me years, I must say. It's a process, because it also teaches you about yourself. The process was for me to also understand that people who are sometimes determined to misunderstand and not willing even to listen to you are people who are having problems with dealing with subjects like this themselves, because sometimes they might have even superstitions, thinking, I don't want to speak about that because I might get it. Some even might be so misinformed that they think it's contagious what you have. Then there lies your task to explain it to others, because others have no way of knowing it unless you explain it. But who's worth your time? Because your time and your energy is precious. It's precious to everyone. Life is short. And who are you willing to give that time and energy to? Who is worth it? So time and energy is precious to everyone, but when you live with chronic pain, you don't have much energy. So it's better to use your time on that what is worth it. So determine for yourself who is important to me, and who do I really want to know? Who needs to know about what is happening to me and what I'm dealing with? Who do I need to be with me, to support me on my path? And how do I make this happen? So determine this for yourself. Is it my partner, obviously, the one closest to me? Is it my parents, my siblings, my friends, my colleagues even? Do they all need to know? And who of these people do I have a positive relationship with? So this will also make you dig into your relationships. This is a deep subject. It goes very deep. This is about your relationships. If you have positive relationship with people, and there is trust and honesty and communication in these relationships, and it can be any relationship that is a positive one. It can be one with your partner, hopefully. Then it can be with your parents, it can be with your friends, your siblings, anyone. If that is a positive relationship, meaning there is trust and honesty and communication in the relationship, and you find a way to explain simply what is going on with you, that means that you are both willing to do the work and you're both going to put effort in it. Then eventually people will understand. And remember that they have no way of knowing unless you tell them. But who is worth your effort? So I think that is what I want to convey. It's all about conveying the message. And how do you communicate? So you determine and decide, who do I really need to tell? And when I say need to tell, it's not just briefly, but just explaining it simply. And that can be something as simple as saying, it feels like I'm living with the flu all of the time. Or if you have a chronic back pain, you could say, well, maybe to someone who has experienced some back pain themselves, but only for a month. And you could say to them, yes, but you had it for a month. And remember how that was, how painful that was. Well, I have it all of the time, and it never goes away. So when you explain it that way, and you try to find some connections with the other person, because you never know what the other person is going through as well. They might have more in common with you than you think, in many ways. They might know others who have it as well. So try to explain it simply. If it's a positive relationship, you will meet each other, and you will find a way of explaining it, and the other person will find a way of understanding. And when you do that, then you will see that in the end, it's worth your time to do it with people in that way. They have no way of knowing it unless you tell them. So who is worth your time? Okay, so this has been my experience this way. And something else that's really important that I want to say is that when you're looking at other people and those who don't understand, so who are not worthy of your time, your precious time and energy, is that be sure that one of those critics that you're not going to waste your time on, be sure that one of those critics is not your inner voice. Are you your own worst critic, really? So what you need to do is become aware of that inner voice. How accepting are you of your own chronic pain? Maybe you are attacking yourself from the inside. Maybe you are telling yourself, well, there are those who have it much worse than me. Shut up. What, you mean you're not going to wash the dishes because you don't feel well? You can't walk for an hour because you don't feel well? There's always something going on with you. So something like that, your own inner voice that is a voice of sabotage, is it even there? Because it can be transformed. It is absolutely important that when you think about this topic, to tell yourself, I'm speaking about the ones that can't deal with this for whatever reason, because it's too big for them to face, because they are afraid it will come to them. It's mostly fear. Don't they have the social skills to understand? Well, wait a minute, is it me as well? Am I one of those critics? How do I speak to myself? When it's silent, when I'm alone, when I look in the mirror, when I have my worst pain? Am I criticizing myself? Yes. So be aware of that voice. How do you speak to yourself? And how can I turn this voice into a positive one? Into one that becomes my biggest supporter? My own cheerleader who says, keep going. You are having earaches, you're having a fever, and you're still thinking of cooking, and you're still doing things, and you're still going out walking. Well, not with a fever, but once the fever was gone, you go out for a hike, and the voice inside you says, that is fantastic, keep going, a warrior, or whatever makes you feel good. So this is one thing, when speaking about this topic, don't forget to listen to your own voice, and don't be your own critic, because there's enough of those. That's not what you want to give your precious time to, or precious energy, because this is going to take your energy. It's just going to give you a negative self-image, and it's going to lower your self-worth. And when we speak about self-worth, then determining for yourself who is worth your time, where and who is your positive relationship, and also focusing on that which empowers you and which is positive, those are acts of self-love. And that is so important for everyone, and it's so important when you're dealing with challenges like having chronic pain. And then what I really want to end with today is go back to that topic of gratefulness. I was talking about people saying, yes, but there are others who have it far worse than you. And yes, I'm intelligent enough to be aware of that. But the part of feeling guilty, that is behind me now, because I'm not helping myself and I'm not helping the other person with that. I said it's going to be a trigger for me now to be grateful, because that I am. And also to be grateful for those who do stand with you. So instead of focusing on those who are going to be negative, because there's always going to be those, there's people who just are always negative. They need that drama. These are people who have their own issues. Like you have an invisible disease, you have invisible issues. Not physical ones, but mental ones. People who just can't deal with it. It's too much for them for their own reasons, and they have to deal with it themselves. You cannot do it for them. Once you realize this, then something shifts. Instead of focusing on those who are negative and are not willing to understand you, who are not willing to do the work with you, that's fine. This is not for everyone. This territory is, I would say, the road less traveled. It is not for everyone. So you have to let go. These people have a right to their own path. But instead of focusing on them, focus on those who are with you, who do support you. Focus on your positive inner voice and listen to it. Be aware of it. It speaks to you always. So be aware of that. So then turn it into the focus on the positive people who are with you, who support you no matter what, who are willing to do the work with you, who put the effort in, and who meet you halfway. Because if you do that, the universe will meet you halfway as well. And that is fantastic when you're already dealing with so many challenges. So you turn it into a positive thing. And then you get the saying, what they say about gratefulness. And that is the famous saying that says, when you are grateful, it turns what you have into enough. In my experiences, and I have just started that last year really, so it took me years. And please don't be too hard on yourself if you're not there, because it doesn't mean that I'm always there. I just fall down and I get up again. But now I'm at that point that I say I'm ready for that. I'm focusing on those who are with me. I'm focusing on my own positive voice, the voice that encourages me, because that is empowering. The negative part, the people who really don't know how to deal with you and come with negative comments, who don't even know about your struggle, well, I don't even know about their struggle, so you let them go. It's disempowering to me. I choose what is empowering to me, and then I say I give thanks, because that is empowering, and in the end that is a transformation. It changes everything. And I think this is a good end for this video, to give thanks, and to give thanks to those who were there for me on my path, who are still there with me every day. And I want to thank you for your support. It has made all the difference. And thank you for your courage to deal with me. And I actually feel tears coming up because of it. And I want to thank you in the most positive way possible. And I love you very much. And like I said, it has made all the difference, because I recognize my own courage, and I also recognize the courage in you. So I love you very much for being there with me on my path. And I thank you for all the lessons. And we are really all teachers to each other, aren't we? So love you very much, and see you soon. And in the meantime, listen to that inner voice, become aware of it, and focus on the positivity. And okay, take care of yourself. See you next time.